approve.
Motion to approve, is there a second?
Second.
Is there a second? Are there any corrections or questions? There being none, I'll ask that you raise your hand if you approve. All right, approved, thank you. Nancy, are there any? No, ma'am. No citizens? No, ma'am. Signed up?
Oh, wait. There's one regarding item number 5.
Okay. All right. So there is no old business. Under new business, we have Kim Thorpe, who's the president and CEO of the Harris County Chamber of Commerce, who's going to provide us with some information on tourism in Harris County and the quarterly report from the chamber.
Thank you. Good evening, y'all. I'm going to go through some stuff that y'all are already aware of, but for the benefit of our citizens and our attendees this evening, I'm going to kind of go through some backstory and some details. First of all, I want to acknowledge we have members of our Harris County leadership class here this evening. One of the requirements for them to graduate is to attend the Board of Commissioners meeting, and fortunately it just happened to work out that they're here to provide an audience and support for me. So thank y'all for being here. I appreciate it so much. Anyway, tourism in Harris County. We consider tourism in Harris County to be a partnership between the Chamber and the Commission. And so I'm going to run through this. I want to introduce you to our tourism team, or your tourism team. I am obviously Kim Thorpe. I'm the president and CEO of the Harris County Chamber of Commerce. Dawn Hires is our member services coordinator. She's here this evening. And the young lady in the back is our intern. She's a senior at Harris County High School, Megan Applegate. And she is a real go-getter. She's driving back from Ohio tonight, so she couldn't be here to be a part of this. So let's begin at the beginning. Prior to 2019, the Chamber received a small percentage of funds from the hotel motel bed tax. In 2019, back in 2018 rather, the Commission voted to give the Chamber 100% of those funds so that we could begin to market and promote tourism in Harris County, which began in January of 2019. We've never stopped and thought about who we are regarding tourism in Harris County. So we really had to literally start from scratch. Who are we? What do we want to be? So we were charged with developing marketing and a branding strategy for Harris County. This is a map. All of the commissioners have seen this map, but again, for the benefit of the citizens as well as the attendees tonight, I was just going to run through it. I love these circles. These are my favorite circles. Anyway, this small little circle here is Pine Mountain. It's not to scale, so forgive me. The Pine Mountain Tourism Office receives funds from the hotel motel bed tax within the Pine Mountain city limits, which includes Callaway Resort. And here's the Chamber receives the rest of the funds, or the funds from the rest of the county, which includes FDR State Park. There are some places there's Pine Mountain Club Chalets, Mountaintop, Valley Inn, and then there's some other privately owned entities in Harris County where we receive tax money from. So the first step was, who are we? What are we known for? When the marketing committee was developed, we asked Pam Bauer with Callaway Resort and Gardens to come on as our chair. She agreed to do so, and at the time the committee identified through a marketing strategy, tourism strategy, we decided that there were 5 areas of focus that we needed to really drill down on. So in May of this year, we submitted this budget to the county manager as well as to the CFO for the county. State law requires that we turn in a budget. Unfortunately, there's no set format for that budget, so we were kind of flying blind in the dark. So we submitted this. The CFO asked for something more detailed. So at that time in June, we came back and presented a more detailed budget for which y'all voted on and approved. So thank y'all very much for your confidence in us to continue to move forward with this strategy. So first thing we've done, where are we, is we've got some exciting things happening, and that's what I want to really throw out to y'all tonight. We have a photographer here in ago, he did several photography sessions of a lot of the tourism areas in Harris County. And this is obviously Dowdell's Knob at FDR State Park, and we're in the process of producing a rack card, which will be sent to visitor centers all over the southeast to talk about Harris County. We just launched a new website, westgeorgiaplayground.com. This is actually the overview at FDR State Park, and this is the homepage setting for that website. And this is exactly what it looks like right now. It says, coming soon, something great is coming, and we're in the process of building that. We upgraded our database system through, or our website system through the company that we use for our member database, and it has a lot of options where we can promote tourism for even companies that are not members, like for restaurants and other places in Harris County. But we decided we wanted to go ahead and have a separate website, and the two will connect so that you can go back and forth between the two. Next up, tomorrow we have, tomorrow and 2 days at the end of October, we have David Zelski with the excursion coming. I'm going to show you kind of his website. David has a show that broadcasts on Fox Sports, and so he's going to come and he's going to do a video on Harris County. I'm going to show you his website, but the video is about 22 minutes long, so we're not going to watch that, thank goodness. So this is David's website. If I can get my mouse to work, I love technology. Here it goes. Well, this is his website, but it'll broadcast on Fox News as well, Fox Sports, as well as you can download these videos on Amazon Prime as well.
He's also the guy that does the public broadcasting of Georgia Outdoors.
Mm-hmm.
So he goes around, he's been doing this for years.
Mm-hmm.
So did he select Harris County, or did you contact him?
We contacted him. And so the Georgia Department of Economic Development also has a product development team, and hopefully I can get some volume to work for this, because this is the part I really wanted y'all to see. And they have a tourism product development team, and they pick an area, a community to go to once a month. And they go in and they spend 3 days, and they send back a report, and they're coming to us. They're so popular, we couldn't get them scheduled till June of next year. But they'll come in for 3 days and they'll do this report, and we're really excited about it. We sat down and we had to go through all of the things that might be tourism pieces in Harris County, and we ended up submitting about a 20-page report. Linda Straub came in, thank you Linda, came in and kind of helped us go through that. So we turned in a full 20 pages of things for them to go through and look at. And when I attended the the Governor's Conference on Tourism last month, I got to meet the ladies that were actually coming, and they are so excited because they've never been to Harris County before. This is one community. They've been to other communities and they focus on different pieces within those communities, but they've never been to Harris County before, so they're really excited about coming next summer. And I really do want you to see this video, so I'm going to cross my fingers. We're all going to pray that we have sound on this one.
Is the volume all the way up?
It's all the way up, yeah. Because this is the one I really wanted you to see.
Tourism, when we speak of our product, we're talking about natural resources, cultural
hear that at all?
Product development program empowers and assists communities. They do this by helping communities identify, develop, and get their experiences visitor ready.
Georgia Department of Economic Development Tourism Division, they came down and did a survey of what we can do to promote tourism here in Dublin, and that's where all of our tourism really took flight.
We don't have all the answers, so certainly we want the experts to come in and let us know what we need to focus on.
The tourism division came up with the idea that we need to put a monument to recognize the significance and the magnitude of young Martin Luther King Jr. doing his first public speech here at the First African Baptist Church.
April 1944 is when he did his first speech, The Negro and the Constitution. He came here, he stood right at that podium right there to do his speech. It's really very encouraging for Dublin in the tourism way, because everybody wants to know about Dr. King. You can't help but want to know where he's been, what he's done.
We've had over 8,000 visitors that have come to visit that park over the last 2 years.
All of the citizens of Dublin came together and we decided to make that project happen. It just was a feel-good project for everybody.
Our Downtown Development Authority and our tourism group work closely together, being sure that we're on the same page in what we want to produce for the visitor, but also for our locals. And now we're embarking on a new set of plans.
And it has been tremendous when we have a project of good idea that we know it would benefit all of Dublin and Lawrence County. We come together as one to make it happen.
Back in 2009, we established the Tourism Product Development Program. TPD teams have been so successful in assembling experts of all backgrounds. In the first 10 years, we conducted 70 resource team visits. In addition, nearly $1.5 million in grants has been distributed.
Andrew College has been the educational, cultural, and spiritual beacon of this area since 1854. The tourism product team came to town in the summer of 2016. When they came to town with a team of 9, they changed a great deal for the good about Randolph County and Andrew College. They were here, I think, for 3.5 days in June. In September, they came back and they delivered a presentation and a product, which was a spiral-bound notebook, a report that each of us could digest and execute. So our plan on behalf of the college is to physically move parts of our arts program into downtown Cuthbert. And we're well underway in doing that with some of the building acquisitions and renovations that we've done. This very space that we're in, which I'm told is the oldest building in downtown Cuthbert, was the first building that we took on. It was donated to us, and we've created a ceramic studio out of it. So we've got a beautiful space for our students to come down here and receive instruction in ceramics every semester. If downtown looks better and functions better, when people see pedestrians coming and going, then other small businesses will be attracted to it. Chris Johnson from here at Andrew College has been so inspired by the work of the tourism product team that he referred to that report as his blueprint for what he finds inspiring and what he is trying to help the college do. He also has become the master of murals, as we like to call him. We now have 6 buildings downtown. Before the tourism product team came, we had 0. Well, now we have 6. And we are literally helping turn the lights back on in downtown Cuthbert.
As Georgians, sometimes we don't realize what we have in our own backyards. Local assets in rural Georgia communities can translate into one-of-a-kind experiences.
We brought the tourism resource team in 2014. They not only saw things and asked us questions, but they also helped us to see things that we had not seen before. We started with the bridge because when the team came, they said, "Gosh, this is a beautiful, beautiful asset. And look at its history. What are y'all doing with it?" It was course, we weren't doing anything with it, so it's just sitting here. We weren't promoting it. Now we've got an experience, because you can come out here, you can have a picnic, you can listen to this water and this nature and walk through the bridge and imagine how it was in the 1840s when Horace King built this bridge. If you know the Walking Dead story, they used the fictitious town of Woodbury. So we kept saying, we got the real Woodbury over here. We worked with a geocache expert. He went out and helped us to identify all the sites in and around the city of Woodbury. And so we said, why don't we create a zombie-themed geocache trail? So it was a huge success. And since then, we've had a steady stream of traffic that has come through just to do this. Every product that we roll out, we want to make sure that we can market it, and we want to make sure that we educate the community about it. So that's what we've been trying to build is a Meriwether County that is thriving as it relates to tourism. So we got all of that going for us.
Supporting business startups and expansions, especially small businesses, is a real focus for us here at the Georgia Department of Economic Development.
We were so thrilled to be selected by the Georgia Department of Economic Development to have their Tourism Product Development Resource Team visit our community to bring their expertise with ideas on how we could even grow those tourism destination locations even greater than we already have.
Throughout the years, the railroad has played a very significant role in our development. For example, in the 40s, when the 18,000 soldiers got off at the depot here in downtown, they marched from the depot out to Camp Toccoa at Curry.
There are a lot of train enthusiasts that enjoy watching trains, and so they would pull up in their car, but there was really nowhere to be. And so one recommendation the team had was to build a viewing platform. It's a nice place for people to hang out while they're waiting for the next train.
The Military Museum honors the local veterans on a monthly showcase. There was a recommendation from the Tourism Product Development Team to continue their efforts at Camp Toccoa to market that as a tourism destination, which is what they're continuing to do. They have recently constructed a gift shop and a pavilion, as well as they are restoring a C-47 plane and barracks. We are at the Ritz Theater in downtown Toccoa. It's a historic theater built in 1939. The product development team came and saw what a wonderful asset this was for our community and recommended that we brand that theater and the programming. From that resource team report, we have tried to implement their recommendations. We see just from Ritz performances at the theater on a Thursday evening, it not only benefits the theater, it benefits our local businesses, our local restaurants, our retail businesses.
Over the past 10 years, our tourism product development program has championed rural Georgia. And this program helps communities uncover their future.
Anyway, sorry about that. So we have decided that Harris County is an authentic destination. And the definition of authentic is genuine. Destination is a place that one wants to go. So we are, and have decided that we believe that Harris County is the most authentic destination that there is. So we challenge you to hashtag get outside and explore West Georgia's outdoor natural resource playground. Thank you very much for your time. Let me see if I can turn this volume And I know that I've submitted the report and Clinton is waiting for the supporting documents. I was out of town over the weekend, so I'm going to send those to him. I told him he would have them by Friday.
Okay. What have we done on FDR?
Everything that we do, we market FDR. FDR is our largest tourism product right now, and so everything we do, like for instance with the photographer, the majority of the pictures that he took were at FDR State Park. When David comes at the end of the month, he's going to spend a considerable amount of time with Desmond out at the park. So I'm currently working with trying to get information from the state the state park office on information for the company that they use for their billboards, because that is the first and foremost thing that Desmond said he wanted. So that is high on our radar, and they're slow to respond sometimes, unfortunately. But that is definitely next on my list of things to get taken care of this last quarter of the year.
Have we ever thought about, this is not my idea, this is my 25-year-old daughter's idea, have we all ever thought about trying to get bloggers to come into the, like stay at the park and rate the park and put it out on their blogs? Apparently with the young people, that's something like really good, you know, and because I was talking to her about it, because she had just came back from Gatlinburg, and we're talking about, she said, you know, we have the great park here, we have great views just like they do up there. And then she brought up the bloggers. And I just want to say, I don't know if we think about bloggers, and I don't know if you have to pay them to come in, or we could say stay free at the park or something, I don't know. But bloggers might be something to do to promote tourism.
Two young women who do that for me,
Yeah.
A company pays them,
Right.
and they go wherever, and I'll get you there.
I mean,
I would love to have
that
some.
might be
Thank you.
something,
Thank you.
she is, you know, because she's big into the, like, do we have an Instagram, do we have a Twitter for the county, do we have all that kind of stuff? And I went, I don't have any idea. I said, but Kim will be there Tuesday, I'll ask, you know. And then because the whole point, when she drove to Gatlinburg, she typed in the FDR State Park, or typed in Harris County Park, and there's only one site, two sites that came up. Everything else came up to Harris County, Texas.
Yes.
And that's where, you know, and that's what she started asking me, and I went, I don't have any idea. I said, well, I'll ask. And then my only thing I was saying about the Facebook, do we know how many hits we've had on the Facebook? Like, I know y'all are promoting this on Facebook, because I see it. You know,
Yes,
I have it.
we have the Visit Harris County, Georgia.
Yeah, I just wonder how many
Facebook
hits
page.
do we get off of that?
I have not checked the stats on that lately, and also I have started doing the weekly videos that Colin had been and Jason had been doing in the past, and so rather than doing like the long videos, I'm kind of I did one with the photographer when he was here. I'll do one with David while he's here at the various locations that we're going to, but I will go back and check the stats on that Facebook page for you.
And then her other suggestion, like I said, this is all my dollars. Her other suggestion was is maybe we do an event called Have Lunch with FDR at Dawes Knobs, and have the FDR reenactor come in, and you can actually go up and have lunch with this reenactor. He's there actually portraying FDR. I don't know. I just thought, being a history teacher, to me that was something pretty fun. Mm-hmm. That, you know, I would do that. And on the video, they showed my great grandfather in one of the murals in Woodbury, and he was FDR's foreman for his farm. Okay. And I actually have an associate's degree from Andrew College. So all the video, I actually.
So they hit on you and all.
Oh yeah, I was watching that one. Well, yeah, I've been there, and the president of Andrew College was actually the dean at that time. But anyway, that was some thought. And the only other thing that I would say is there, the first thing, and this just may be me because I deal with it, is when I look at the website and it says West Georgia Playground, my first thought was Carrollton because of West Georgia University. Okay. Maybe is there something, you know, we might need to tweak it a little bit where we really want it to be
Harris County.
Harris County, West Georgia Playground, or Explore Harris County or something. And now I go to Carrollton a lot because of volleyball, so that's why it popped in my mind. But it might be that way. Maybe we need to really make sure we have Harris County in the title.
Was there a reason we didn't use Harris County?
Nobody knows where Harris County is, but I will tell you, going to chamber conferences, it's not just a Harris County problem. You could say, when I go and I talk to people that are executive directors or CEOs at other county chambers, they come up, they have the same issue. I mean, it's not just a Harris County thing. I mean, and I know that people have said to me, well, nobody knows where Harris County is. Nobody knows where Pickett County. because when we talk to people and we go to these tourism events or even my chamber events, people say, well, I don't even know where that is. Okay, well, do you know where Callaway Gardens is? Yes, I do. And everybody has a reference point, unless you're a chamber from a particular town. And there are a lot of people who don't know certain towns in Georgia either, so it's not just, we're not the only county that has an identity problem. So counties are difficult when you have their name, but that's something our tourism committee's looking at. And we definitely, like I said, we're at the very beginning, so this is a great place. If we're gonna start changing stuff, now's the time to do it.
Well, I know
it's nothing set in stone.
Right, I know when we go places and somebody will ask us, well, where y'all from, and we say Harris County, or they ask one of my girls, none of the girls ever say they're from Waverly Hall or Shiloh or Pine Mountain. It's always Harris County.
Yeah.
So our brand is actually,
We are Harris County.
we are Harris County, because, I mean, I've been here all my life, and I don't ever say I'm from Shiloh, I just say I'm from Harris County. You know, so that was the only thing I thought, because West Georgia just immediately popped into, I was thinking Carrollton.
Yeah.
You know, so we may want to make sure we got a distinction that we're us.
Okay, well, thank you for that feedback. We'll definitely,
Yeah, and there's not a lot of mention, I didn't know, in what I have of Harris County. I kind of had the same feeling.
Okay.
That we didn't hone in enough on Harris County.
all right, well, thank y'all. Appreciate your time this evening.
But the bloggers, let me know how that goes, because I don't really know much about that.
Okay, wonderful. I'll look for that information from Dr. Andrews.
The next item on the new business on our agenda is the first reading for the ordinance to amend rails and trails ordinance. This is the first reading, and it is to amend the Parks and Rec ordinance, chapter 3.5, article 3, railroad recreation trail, section 3.5-54, driveways. The current ordinance regulating crossovers and driveways on the county-owned rails to trails property does not allow for new crossovers or driveways to protect the integrity of the trail for future paving and the existing underground utilities. A developer has requested the board amend the county's established ordinance to allow new crossovers and driveways over the rail bed on a case-by-case basis. Our county attorney, John Taylor, has prepared an ordinance amendment and a license agreement for the Board of Commissioners' consideration. The second reading and action regarding the amendment and license agreement is scheduled for November the 5th of 2019. John, do you want to say anything about this?
No, except that the rails and trails this railroad started in Muskogee, and it goes all the way to the Meriwether County line, and it comes under the National Rails and Trails Act. And the railroad closed the trail. The trail was made available to the county and it was purchased through the Southwest Georgia Railroad. If one thing we need to be aware of is that if the railroad ever wants to buy it back again, we've got to deed it to them back with at the same price we paid for it. But it was given to us under the National Transportation Act is somewhat complicated, but there's a portion of it that they will allow the railroads to be closed, subject to being reopened, but subject also to being used for recreation trails, and that's what this ordinance was. And we're only amending one part of it. It runs from, like I said, from Meriwether County to Muskogee County. The ordinance provides that the trail is only open currently between Hamilton and Pine Mountain, or the Meriwether County line. It's closed everything south of there, south of here, because the first part of it, the idea was to develop the trail from Pine Mountain to Hamilton and be able to pick up that tourism traffic that's coming out of Callaway and whatnot. And so there are some restrictions on the use of the trail. No motorized vehicles on the trail, no hoof vehicles, And it's only for, bicycles, walking, jogging, and some golf cart type operations. So, but this only amends the section dealing with crossings. When I wrote the original rails to trails ordinance back in 2009, we just provided that all those persons who had driveways crossing the trail were entitled to keep those for the purpose of access to their property, the entire length of the trail. What this ordinance will do now is will provide for a limited access and limited crossings of the trail, and it's self-explanatory, I think. And then for those sections that are those places where you grant a new crossing, a new driveway, the applicant will be granted only a license, which means the right to use, and they will not will not gain any ownership rights in the trail by ingress and egress or an easement or adverse possession, and it will be only by your permission, which can be revoked at any time. But this, like I said, it's I believe it's self-explanatory, but like I said, Madam Chairman, this was the first reading of the ordinance.
I have a question. If I own land and it is landlocked, there's a possibility that a new driveway may not be approved?
No, I think it would be approved.
We have to provide ingress and egress.
If it's legitimately landlocked, yes.
Okay, if it's landlocked. And the other thing on the license, that could be revoked at any time.
Well, that's the way a license works. It can be revoked at any time, but the only time that I would think that a license would be revoked is if the railroad wants to come back and wants
their rail bid.
Again, yes, because all these other these people up and down the railroad now that have in downtown Hamilton, they cross over the railroad. And there's nothing written about that, because that would not be an adverse possession does not run against a county government, so it would not adversely affect the trail. So
those are the only two questions I had.
Are we gonna limit however many driveways or road can come over the railroad? Or are we gonna use that as the case-by-case basis?
On case-by-case basis.
So like if somebody has landlocked, say 50 acres, they wanna put in 6 driveways, are we gonna do each one, or is it gonna be?
We're gonna try what your idea is to limit to one place. But if you'll go there and look at that trail, some places, you come over and it's...
Right, yeah, it's bad on the grade and all.
The grade's bad, and the idea is to preserve the integrity of the trail. But so I noticed out here on the Hamilton Pleasant Grove Road that there is a passageway or a street, I guess it is, or I don't know exactly whether it's an easement or what, on the right side of the railroad going north. And there's one place that all those houses use to cross over the railroad. So that would be within your discretion as to how you do that. And it would be on a case-by-case basis. And if there is access to a public road, then we won't it wouldn't be any reason to grant a cut in the railroad. You put cuts in the railroad, and then or cuts in the rails and trails. You're gonna have to be careful when you do that, because you got driveway permits you have to worry about with the highway department. It depends on where it is. I think the biggest concern about it probably is between here and where it kind of turns right going up the mountain beyond the Hamilton Pleasant Grove Road, because getting back in there and going over by the country store, there's no way you could get down across down in there.
So if somebody owned a tract of land that was a long skinny tract that was adjacent to the railroad tracks, and now I own that land, and now I want to develop that land. If I want to develop that land, am I still only stuck to having one driveway, or if I separate it into multiple lots, could each lot have its own driveway?
The idea is to try to limit the number of accesses that are cut through there.
I feel like that kind of hurts us as far as development, especially inside the city limits. I mean, inside the city limits are an ideal place to develop. When you have sewer, you have water there. And my thought was like inside the city limits, maybe you limit a driveway based on the linear footage of like 150 feet or something. I think inside the city limits of Hamilton, your minimum road frontage is like 100 feet. So if you do a driveway every 150 feet, then that, I guess, would somewhat maybe attract people to use a shared driveway, so you still have a limited number of driveways, but it still allows us to develop more land inside the city limits.
That's gonna be your
call. I feel like it really restricts what we can and can't do.
It's, you know, the way I tried to draw this was, the idea was that, you know, if there's another public road to get to, use it instead of cutting through the trail, or if it's landlocked, you can cut through the trail, but any proposed driveway would be up to you to make that exception.
So
At the time of application.
That'd be the case by case.
Request.
Yes.
At the time.
Yeah, that'd be the case by case basis.
Yes, yes.
I think kind of gonna depend on the depth of the lot too.
Right.
If it's a real narrow lot, you may have problems, but if it's got a reasonable depth, you could have one cut and then a street running right along parallel to the rail bed and then have the driveways.
Yeah, I mean, at some point, it's not feasible to do a small, down a road. So if the rails to trails is developed, or as it is developed, if somebody decides to come back and put a driveway over that already paved rails to trails and they damage that trail, I guess they're responsible. Is that in, can we include that in here, that they'd be responsible to fix any damage? Okay.
All costs and construction and maintenance.
And then on bullet number 4, it says, let's see, as a result of any decrease in the elevation of the existing surface, would that not, why would you not include any decrease or increase in the elevation?
Well, just thinking through this thing is that, you know, the rail trails is up at a height here, and then in order to cut through it to get down to you either got to come up it or drop straight off the other side. You may have to, somebody may want to come in here and start, 250 yards down and start grading the rails and trails down, gradually down, so they can get to a decent elevation, to be able to make the cut through the rail. And that the idea was to leave the rails in.
Right, but I mean, essentially now, there are some areas where your elevation of your earth is up here and the trail bed is down here. I mean, they could do the complete opposite. I would think we'd put no change in elevation. I mean, it could be exactly what you're saying, but just in the opposite direction. Just a thought to include that.
So you're saying on number 4?
Where it says, it only says decrease. Right, I don't think you would include increase or decrease. Just basically say no change.
I think that was understood, but I understand
I can put it in there either increase. I did not envision an increase in it, because I was looking at people coming through it and then sloping it down, and then and we're going to pave it all the way to Hamilton. Then we may have some places you would decrease it, but we're trying to maintain the elevation, so you could there will be no increase or decrease. I don't know why you go up, but
I don't know either, but
at least we have, could it be somebody, so we put, yes, I can fix that.
Okay.
This is it, like I said, this is the first reading, and the idea was to try to maintain, like I said, the integrity of the rails and trails.
Okay, anybody have any other comments or questions? The second reading is set for November the 5th. Are there any comments from anyone on this first reading? No comments? The next item on the agenda is resolution for bank account. We have had an anonymous donor who would like to transfer 1,000 shares of Aflac stock to the county to further the completion of the Ellerslie Park opening in the near future. And as I say, this is an anonymous donor who's asked to remain anonymous. In order to receive those shares of Aflac stock, the county must open a specific brokerage account for broker and dealer transactions, even though there is only one transaction which may occur. A resolution is required and must be submitted with the said resolution having been duly adopted in a meeting of the Board of Commissioners. The account will be opened with Clint Chastain, our CFO, is the first authorized signer, Christy Searcy is the second, and Nancy McMichael is the third. Is there a motion?
Motion to create that account.
There's a motion, and I second that motion. Are there any questions?
I have just a quick question about that. So if the county gets this stock and we turn around and sell it to get the money to do whatever projects, do we have to pay any kind of capital gains out of it? Do we don't have to do any kind of capital gains with that money?
It's going to be in 42 days.
So there's no short-term capital gains in there?
No.
Okay.
Okay, any other questions?
I assume after we do this, then we're gonna turn around and close this account.
Yes. Unless it's that cost anything to keep it open, which is doubtful.
The donor will probably may have a gift tax even.
Right.
All right, there's a motion to accept this resolution and a second. All those in favor? All right, motion is approved. Our county manager is on vacation for the remainder of this week, next week, and Ms. McMichael will cover the county manager's portion of the agenda.
Okay, the first thing is the solid waste containers. The approved budget included $20,000 in the solid waste fund to purchase roll-off containers for the convenience sites. In addition, Waterworks needed one container. The bids were prepared and have been received. They were opened on October 8th. We received only one bid from Waste out of Statesville, North Carolina, who meets all the specs. Their total bid for the 3 20-yard containers is $10,773. The total bid for the 2 40-yard cubic yard containers is $9,138 for a grand total of $19,911. The staff recommends the purchase of those containers, for solid waste in the amount of $16,320, and for the one for Waterworks in the amount of $35,991. Delivery will be in about 4 weeks from the notice of award, and we request a motion to approve that and to authorize county manager to work to execute documents.
You got someone that signed
We have
it?
one
Yes.
person who signed up to speak about this.
That was Lloyd Melbourne. Yes, sir. Can I ask you to come down front, of course?
I just happened to notice that we didn't have a whole lot of luck with our bids on this project, and we ended up with one bid.
It's very, very difficult to get bidders for these things.
Right. I did Google search, and we've got one manufacturer just like Raleigh in the state of Georgia, in Ren's. The people that you were
to,
Bid already gone?
oh yes, sir, the bid's gone, and they did get the copy of the bids. We have about 9 or 10 people that get this, they either contact us to get it, or we have a current list, and, the one that he's talking about, I believe is on that list. I recognize the name from before, so, but they did not submit bid. We received one.
Thank you, sir. Is there a motion?
Motion to approve.
Second. Any second, are there any, is there any discussion or question? Nancy, do all of the convenience centers will have one of these, or? You know,
I'm not sure if they're going to any specific convenience center, or they're going to be used as we trade them out. And every once in a while, we have a request to put one at a special event, like at the rodeo or somewhere, so we have to have one on hand, and that may be, when we trade out, that'll be.
If you could check the Harrisville sign, I think we probably need one out there.
I understand that it's gonna be, there are gonna be 2, let's see, what did he say? For the convenience centers, but I don't.
Right.
But I'll make a note to check that.
Okay, thank you. Okay, there's a motion and a second. All those who approve? All right, motion passes. Yes, ma'am, next.
Okay, Randy has found another grant for us for the race trails. It's called the Georgia Outdoor Stewardship Program Grant. With the current phase, which will be completed soon, and phases 2 and 3 are underway, this is for phase 4. Phase 1 right now ends at the intersection of 27 and 354. Phases 2 and 3 will eventually end up behind Mountain Creek Inn. And then phase 4 would be from Mountain Creek Inn, across the bridge at 27, and somewhere down near Callaway Country Store as it's a logical ending point and a destination. And that would be 1.55 miles of asphalt trail, and having the historic bridge. Randy consulted with the State Historic Preservation Site and representatives of this grant program, both of which determined that the railroad bridge is historic and rehab is preferred rather than demolition. If demolition is required or occurs, it would have an impact and push the project further out. This phase is estimated to cost $1,100,000, with $100,000 of that to be the design, survey, permitting, document prep, and bidding. $650,000 for the paving and $350,000 for the bridge rehab. $700,000 of the total cost, which is 63.6%, would come from the GOSP grant, and the remaining $400,000 would come from the county as a required match from the T-SPLOS funds, which has sufficient account balances, and it's being added to every month until it expires on December 31st, 2022. The grant is a 75-25 grant, but we're suggesting more contribution in order to get more points, in order to be awarded the grant. That's to make it more competitive. The deadline, of course, unfortunately, is October 31st. If it's successful, the county will be invited to a second level application process in February of 2020. The grant funds will be awarded in the summer of 2020, and which then with the award amount will be placed in next year's budget. It'll take about a year to design, obtain the permits, prepare documents, bid out the project, and till about the summer of 2021. Construction would take 6 months, and so it would be early 2022 before it would be completed, so it's a lengthy project. And again, this is just to request submitting the grant application and approve the resolution necessary for that, and to authorize staff to execute the documents.
Okay. I do have a question. Did Randy give you any information as to how much above the minimum 25% he would recommend?
Well, he recommended the 36.4% at $400,000.
Okay, I got it right here.
Yes.
Thank you.
Any more
there a motion?
I'll make the motion that we proceed with the application for this grant.
I'll second.
Okay, there's a motion and a second. Any other questions? And I do notice it's in the letter, it says we're prepared to fund at a minimum 25% of the overall cost. Is that $30,000?
It will know that.
Will that be shared with them also at this time?
I would think that the way I just think he put the wrong letter in here is what it is, because he reckoned if we go higher than 25%, we get more points.
Right.
So I just think he put the wrong amount in the letter, so we'll get that fixed.
I'm not for demoing the bridge. I'm for the rehabilitation of that bridge. I was born and raised on that bridge. I don't know what I'd do if I rode down that road and didn't see it. Lost. I would. I'd feel lost.
When we were doing the, acquiring the rails and trails, I dealt with the highway department and tried to give the bridge to them, and so that they could maintain it with, in particular, the abutments. But they said, no, thank you, it was our bridge, if we it was just the railroad, so we got to either rehab the bridge or take it down.
Fix that. Okay. Any other questions? There's a motion and a second. We'll go ahead and submit this request since it's due October 31st before our next meeting. All those in favor?
Just so you know, he just found out about this grant about 3 weeks ago, so that's why the time frame is so short.
Okay, that's approved. And now project updates.
Okay. I'm not gonna hit all of them that Randy normally does, but I'll get some of them. The number 2, the countywide email system, it should be implemented in early December. As you know, I sent you all emails about that this afternoon. Number 10, the fuel card readers are on bid, and we are getting all the details together for the WEX fuel card management program. And we should be meeting with them in mid-November about that to get it started before late December. Number 12, the LMIG road resurfacings. The bidding will take place in January of 2020. Number 13, the restriping of the county roads that is underway and completion is expected by November 30. Number 18, the community center's pool equipment is on bid. We should have those bids received on the 17th, which is this week, and consideration by the board on November 5th. Number 21, the repair to Ellerslie Lodge. We opened bids recently, and the bid has come in less than it did last time, because this was a rebid project, but we're having our insurance company look at it because there's still a small discrepancy between the proceeds we got from the insurance company and the amount of the bid. It's not as far as it was before. It's only like $5,000 or $6,000, $8,000 difference. But we hope to have that ready for you for the November 5th meeting to act on. Number 22, the chipping and grinding of the debris at L2 Park is scheduled to be completed soon. It's at 65% complete as of the day he wrote this. I'm sure it's a little bit more by now, but they're still out there. Number 26, the Rails and Trails project, Phase 1 ribbon cutting ceremony will be Wednesday, November 20th at 4 p.m. in Pine Mountain. Phases 2 and 3 are expected to be completed by early March of 2020. The number 27, an RFP to obtain an airport consultant, which is required every 5 years. That process will begin in January. And, numbers 31, the scales for the solid waste department are on bid. They open November 8th and will be before you on November 19th for consideration. The replacement garbage truck is out on bid. It's due the same time frame. Will be before you on November 19th for consideration. The roll-off containers, that was done this evening. And those, we'll give them a notice of award, and then we should have them by the end probably of November or 1st of December. The upgrade of the water line on SR 315, the bid opening is November 14th, and consideration will be before the board on December 3rd. And then the updated county's land use and development codes for planning service the proposals will be received on November 19th, and we hope the completion is done by June 30th of next year.
Okay, and there is a ribbon cutting.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
The 20th at 4 p.m.
Yes.
In Harmon.
Yes.
Do we have any idea on the ribbon cutting and exactly what we're going to do? Or are we just going to go stand there and cut the ribbon?
There is a schedule of events, I believe it's on the website. There's a generic invitation to all the citizens of the county who look at the website to attend the event. And you're on the agenda.
No, she's on this.
And you're on the agenda. Opening remarks by Chairman Langston, but other remarks by other commissioners.
Okay, I like it.
All right.
I just didn't want to go over there and just cut the ribbon and say, here it is.
Anything else?
No, ma'am.
Okay, Mr. Taylor.
Yes, ma'am, I have two items. One is one for the tax commissioner, tax assessor, and it deals with aerial imagery. There's a contract for you to look at, for your consideration. Pictometry International is going to provide an aerial flyover and imagery of tax maps and parcels for the remainder of this fiscal year, and then for 2021 and 2022, and the price will be $65,000 and due in 3 annual payments, which the contract provides for. There is a multi-year addendum that has been prepared and I've attached it to the contract. This company interfaces with Wingate and Q Public, which is the entity in the system that Harris County and most Georgia counties, and I think a lot of other counties out of state use for their tax assessment, and you were able to see a flyover of where the tax parcel is. Wayne is not here tonight, but he reviewed this. I've reviewed it and talked with him, and for this current year, there is the total amount of the total amount of the contract $65,000, 3 annual installments, and then there is a part of the contract which will provide a second part of the project if the county so desires, and it will be at the same amount and also payable in 3 annual installments. But I recommend this contract to you. Wayne was most pleased with it, and I think it does the job that the county needs to have done, so we can know where our parcels lie, what they look like when they come up. And it's a lot easier than trying to draw them from the ground. I recommend you to approve it.
Okay, thank you, sir. Is there a motion?
I move that we accept the aerial imaging.
Okay, there's a motion. Is there a second? Second. There's a second. Any questions? Any discussion? All right, all those in favor? Thank you. Motion is approved.
The last thing I have, Madam Chairman, is a change order dealing with a DaySol site preparation and spring location project. If you recall, DaySol, it already has a plan in Northwest Harris Industrial Park. Part of that transaction provided for them to have another site and for them to put another addition to the plant adjacent to where they are now. And then that's what this project has been for, was to prepare the site for the DaySol, get ready for DaySol to start working on their their new plant. The low bid was $425,000, but because of some other events, we had to have a change order, and the change order was up, and we've got it negotiated down to $265,000. This will actually complete the project. There is some, take some topsoil off to be put back into after it's leveled off. There are 200 cubic yards of material that have to be moved. Won't have to be moved off-site. There's an adjacent piece of property that you own that will be taken to that, and then there will also there are also some pretty good rocks that they're going to put in another pile, and so it's going to take from now to December to get it done. But I have been working on this, and you've been made aware of the issues involved in it, and I recommend that you approve this change order for the $265,000, which still, even you add that to the bid amount of $425, you're still below the next highest bidder. But they will be ready to mobilize within 10 days and are going to be able to complete the project, hopefully well in advance of that December date.
And Madam Chairman, in addition to the change order amount, there's a budget amendment needed for that as well, which would also include $10,000 for GMC to complete the project and $43,000 for TACO's previous retainage. So that'd be for a total of $318,000 total in this transaction.
Just as a caveat, it may not be of much value to anybody but me. I'm not happy with it, but I certainly understand why it must be done.
I understand why you're not happy with it.
Not happy with it at all, but I'll make the motion then that we approve the change order, the budget amendment, and authorize the county manager and the county clerk to execute the necessary documents. Second. And there's a motion and a second. Anyone have any other questions or any other discussion? All right, all those in favor? Motion is approved. You have anything else?
No, ma'am, I understand there may be a need to go into executive session for the discuss potential litigation.
Yes, sir, that's correct. And there is one other thing that I'd like to mention. I would imagine that most of you know Judge Mullins Wisnett passed away on Saturday. His funeral is tomorrow. Judge Wisnett was a former DA, and he loved Harris County. I do know that. He will be buried in Waverly Hall. But he did love Harris County, I know that for a fact. So if we could just offer our condolences and our sympathies to the Wisnett family. Is there a motion to go into executive session?
So moved for potential litigation.
For potential litigation, correct.